You know, ladies and gentlemen, when you forget how long you make your intro cut out, and you're trying to count down for your wonderful people on your show, and you keep on going 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
4,
how long is this fucker? How long did I make this? So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Dinner and a Game. Oh shit, let me make sure everything's working. Yay, it's all working. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. We are back from our little hiatus. We had a lot of stuff happen, all of it in real life. So, as you all know, those of you who follow us, we have one rule at Dinner and a Game, and that is that real life comes first. And that applies even to, you know, me and my wife and people who run this, you know, do the background stuff and run the show. And we had a lot of stuff come up, and it turns out it was kind of a good thing because a lot of other people had a lot of stuff come up too. So what ended up happening is we had to shut down production for a little bit, and now we are kind of getting back up and running. This is our first episode back for City of Mist. Our campaign is called Ethos and Mythos, and we wanted to, first off, I wanted to welcome everyone back. Thank you very much. Thank you to Chris, thank you to Milagros, and thank you to Jack for being here and being part of this. And thank you for being so patient when we were out. You guys were like really badass, and you stepped forward, and you know, I will honestly say that a lot of the people on the cast were the reasons that I actually bothered to keep going with the show, because a lot of things were happening, and it was really rough for a time, and these folks just said, take your time, come back when you can, we'll be here. And that meant a fuck ton. So, thank you guys very much.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Now, if you guys want to find out where these people are actually creating the different types of... Wait a minute. Oh, there it is. The different types of content that they all do. Chris, you're part of a very, very special organization called UST. Is that correct?
I am indeed. Yeah.
Would you care to tell us a little about UST?
UST is, we are a Dungeons and Dragons based Twitch channel. Our premise, at least with our primary show, is that people should be judged by the quality of their character, not by what race they are. For example, the character that I play, Fenrir Everbren, is a drow, or at least a quarter drow, and typically when you have drow characters, you have a lot of racism towards that character, and he doesn't experience any of that because our world doesn't have that. But you know, the characters that are evil and trying to destroy the world, them we want to kill, you know, so... and then, but we also do a show on Wednesdays called Metagaming, while you guys are doing Kingdoms of Mist, and pretty soon we're going to be doing a Monday night show, huh, Jack?
Yes!
So,
Release date to be determined, but
soon!
Yes, soon!
We are coming soon!
Coming soon to a theater near you, or maybe there's the internet.
Or maybe just the internet, you know.
And that is, you know, UST has been, they're kind of like a sister show for us now. Even though we do technically broadcast on the same night, it doesn't really matter. Because when it comes to creators, we all try and support each other. And UST has been a huge help to us in, number one, they've lent us Chris and Michaela and Jack are all from UST family, and so they've lent us support by lending us actual people, which is kind of incredible and amazing. And
technically, you lent us Jack.
Did I?
Yep.
That's right.
Well, yeah, you did come onto this show first, and then you, but you were already talking to them about other things. So I think that's it's a wash. It's a wash. Yeah. But speaking of Jack, if folks wanted to follow you and see what you create as an individual, where would they find you at?
Yes, find me on Twitter at ShiftyJT. You'll find all the voiceover projects that I'll be working on there. You can find me on UST Show Mondays very soon with Remnants of Carpoi. And you can find me on Instagram at TarvinVO. So if you ever want to catch up on me and my projects, please feel free to send a follow my way.
Excellent. There you are. Now, there is so it's Twisty JT, right?
Shifty.
Shifty JP. I don't know why I said twisty.
Kind of like shitty, but with an F.
I don't know if we've followed you. There you are. Oh, good. We are following you. I was like, do we follow Jack? We better follow Jack. So I just looked it up real fast. Also, if you guys don't know this, our wonderful friend Milagros is also a content creator. When she has the time, because she is going into your senior year, yes?
Senior year of college, yeah.
She is almost done, folks. This is it. The big push is on. How bad is your senioritis?
Oh, like, I don't even want to go back. Like, I'm so tired. Like, I'm pre-tired right now in anticipation of the exhaustion that I know I will feel in like 2 months. Because I'm a resident assistant, so I go in a month early. So that like by the time the school year actually starts, I'm already done.
Mm-hmm.
Because of orientation and moving in freshmen and all of that. But like, it's fine. 2 more semesters. I'm so close. So I'm just trying to do that last push, so that I can kind of do whatever I want. I can't wait to have time to do stuff and not have to like, oh, school starts in like a month.
Yeah, I know, and it's that's the whole thing. Right now, you're like, I don't have any time. I only have 3 months off, and later on, you're gonna be like, I don't have any time, fucking ever. But anyway, if you guys want to catch Milagros, her links are her link tree is in chat, and Milagros does some amazing content regarding story creation, regarding cultural sensitivity, being basically. She is one of the people that I turn to as I'm developing the Kingdom of Mist to try and make sure that we're staying in that positive mindset, and we're making sure the representation is done carefully and with consideration to everyone. And so, and that's something that, that I count on other people for, because I was raised in the generation that thought nuclear war was a great idea. So I need help. So
a lot of those people still exist.
So anyway,
it'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
Just walk it off.
Assured mutual destruction is just not a thing anymore. Okay.
It's just a little radiation. It's fine. It's fine.
Please keep the glasses on. I love them.
And Fox Rider has just showed up in chat, and she says she's not late. She's a wizard. She can arrive exactly when she means to.
Welcome, Fox.
So last when we left off, and Michaela is not joining us tonight. She has real live friends, so she doesn't need us anymore, and she quit.
Oh my god.
She's actually busy tonight, and Michaela, we hope you have fun. I hope you get to at least see that bit, so you know that even now I'm still giving you shit. But in the meantime, let's get back to our campaign, which is taking place in a game system called City of Mist, which is a Powered by the Apocalypse game running on the Powered by the Apocalypse game engine. It's pretty much a heavily modified Powered by the Apocalypse game. It combines some attributes of a system called Fate, if you've ever heard of that. And that is a system that really is literally based and built off of your story that you make up for your character. So with the Fate system, you basically have a character, and all the attributes on the character are story beats that you as a group come up with. And that is an incredible setup, an incredible system. But this is like I don't want to say dumbed down, but a smaller version of that. And it is basically based around the concept that, we create the characters as a group. And the group itself is almost like a living character in the game system. The group has attributes and everything like that, and those attributes are recorded on character sheets, and they're given values based on storylines that we create. And then you have 3 story tags on each one of 4 different cards in your character sheet. Those cards are built off of aspects of your character. As in the beginning of the game, when we're not as powerful as we could be, Those aspects are all mostly about your human side. There's 4 cards, and 3 of them are from your human side, and 1 of them is from your supernatural side. As the story goes on, and you begin to utilize your powers more, and you begin to experiment with your nature and your demeanor, you begin to change your aspects. As the supernatural side begins to gain more control over your personality, gains more control of your life, you gain more power, but you also lose bits of your humanity. And so it's a trade-off. And like I said in my promos for today, what happens when you wake up with a god in your head and they think that they should be in control, and you still have to go to work tomorrow? So it is pretty much a heavy-duty RP system, and it is built that way from the get-go. And I think that it is a great system for people who love story over everything else and want to build that story out and build characters out that are very detailed. What was that?
Milagros.
It's me.
Oh.
Story over everything.
This is an RPG for bitches that like story.
Pretty much. That's.
I'm bitches.
I'm bitches. I think we're all bitches here. It's me. I'm bitches. I'm another thing. I was like, I'm trying to find all your character sheets and I can't find them. And I was like, oh, I'm on the wrong screen. I am fucking brilliant today, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just all go home.
I am home.
I know we're already all home, so we can't even go anywhere. But yeah, we're playing this game on Roll20. City of Mist has a great build out on Roll20. If you have not used Roll20, you can literally buy the entire City of Mist setup, and you'll never have to buy anything else for it. For I think it's $30, and it gives you access to all the rule books, all the supplements in Roll20, and you don't have to buy anything else. And it creates all these to where you can just bring up the character sheets, have everything in them, take notes in the character sheets, and do everything else, and you have everything contained in one spot on Fanboy. Because I think Roll20 has some really big issues with their technology, but this one is one of the ones I think they got right. Yeah. So as you guys watch, you will see things pop up on screen as I bring up character sheets and everything like that. I've got a nice setup built out to where we can show you their character sheets, and this is kind of like watching and learning how to play this game as well as us telling you a story. And one thing we've been doing incorrectly is, and I don't know if I told the rest of you, but I told Chris this. We were wondering about, how do we improve characters? What's the process for that? It turns out that every single time we use one of the weakness tags on a character sheet, that's an experience point. And I don't just get to use your weakness tags. You can choose to bring your weakness tag into a roll in order to get an experience point.
I thought you were going to say, due to personal reasons, I will just not be having weaknesses.
Due to personal reasons, I quit, and I'm not going to do this anymore.
Never heard of her.
Yeah. So, and I'm going to bring up a character sheet real fast. Kevin.
What?
I'm trying to bring up your character sheet, but it's not letting me because it's a biatch. There we go.
Is it being mean?
It's being very mean. I'm going to bring up Ruben's because it came up. Hey. So, if you look on this character sheet that I have up in front of me, come on now, there he is. You can see that as I hover over each one of the cards, they pop out. Okay? These are the attributes I was talking about. This is the attribute for their crew. And it has abilities that they can call on. They can only use all these abilities once a scene because it's from the crew. Okay, if they fail an ability check and it's a 2d6 roll, and it's you have to make a 1 through 1 through 6 fails, and 7 or higher is a pass. But if they do a failure, they get a crack, 3 cracks, and they lose one of the power tags, and that means that the group has lost some little bit that brings them together, and so this can actually tear apart your crew. Now you have all your attributes from your mortal seeming. And Ruben's attributes are musician, vagabond, and tortured artist. And these are all the abilities he gets to use here. Now, one thing we were doing is when you use an ability, you put a check mark by it, and it puts it up in the power section up there, which is how you roll the dice online. The guys like to roll their dice at home, so we don't really use that too much. But for each ability you get to put on, it's going to add another +1. So there's 2. Now, if they choose or I choose to use their weakness tag, then you click on that, and it takes away 1, because that's all the weakness tag does. It's a -1 modifier. So that's the basic mechanics of how you create the dice rolls. And you can actually bring in other tags from other cards, but then you could also bring in the weakness tag from another card. So it all depends on what you want to risk and what you want to give. And then as you build up XP, you're going to mark that on the build-up sheet. So every time you get one, you put a notch here. And when you fill that, you get to bump 1 item. You can add a power tag on. You can do a whole bunch of different stuff. And that's how you improve your character. Now, all that being said, whenever we're in combat, another thing we've not been doing is these are our tracking cards, right? Whenever we get something happens, like let's say we're in a fight. And let's say that Milagros' character gets shot in the leg, and so I put Ruben's character gets shot in the leg, so shot in, because I'm on his sheet, shot in the leg. And let's say the person who the consequence was like a really severe consequence, like it was you totally botched the roll, no successes at all, and so let's say that it comes out as a 3. Now if he continues in the fight and this consequence keeps growing, if it gets to a 6, he is taken out of the fight completely. Now, that does not necessarily mean dead unless the scene dictates that it should be that severe. So, that's how we're supposed to be tracking consequences, and we haven't been doing that. And that's what we do for that. And then on this, when you're actually doing this, when you flip your card over, you can see moments of evolution. This is how you gain new powers. Okay? So, stop it. I'm going to move this over here. Choose another broad power tag. These are the things you can spend experience points on. So you gain an extra theme, you get closure from your nemesis, you go through a transformation, you leave the city. So that's literally retiring your character. Your character runs for it. So, that's all the mechanics of the game. I kind of want to go over them real quick because we've never really gone over them. We just kind of jumped into the game and started fucking playing because kind of sort of we were figuring it out as we went along too. So that was the big thing about it is we were trying to figure things out as we went. So what does this do?
What's this do?
Oh, this is how you turn to story tag. Story tags are literally just for a scene, but the actual tags last like the entire night. Tags don't go away unless you do something called basically doing downtime to remove the tag. So like if you were shot in the leg and you never got it healed through the entire thing, then you would basically have to say, I'm going to do some downtime to heal up, and you would have to like go to a healer, like a magical healer to get it healed right away, or say I'm going to spend 3 weeks laid up in bed so my gunshot wound can heal. You know what I mean? And that's how these things go away. Blind running is always good. Into the game, shall we? So let's shut this down. And so when we left off, you guys were in the Jeep powering through town, and you were trying to get to the, for lack of a better word, the lovely place there all fun happens at. This is a city that's loosely based on Orlando, and there is several huge resorts here. And what did we name the resort? Oh my god, it was something really fucking weird.
Milagros has it.
It's like a macabre. It's like the macabre or something like that. It's like a horror themed resort.
Yeah, it's all horror themed. Disneyland, except the mascot is an undead possum. Patty Flatty the possum. The park is Zombie World with a reanimated kingdom and Undead Studios, and Necromancy Kingdom, and a George Romero museum.
George Romero Museum.
Yeah. Well, like
Zombie World.
yeah,
Yes.
I think it was Zombie World.
So it's Zombie World with a George Romero Museum, and yes, that's where they're headed, because that's the lovely. I don't get that, but hey, it's there. So you guys are booming your way to the zombie as possible, because from the fact that all these creatures have been running around the city, and Kevin's police scanner is picking up all these reports of all these violent outbreaks happening across the city. That all the mobs of violent people are moving in that direction. So you are making a beeline for that area in order to try and figure out what the fuck's going on. And you guys have made your way into the streets, and you've been kind of zooming around these mobs. You stopped at an intersection because you found it was a couple of police cars that were wrecked, wasn't it? And
one of them was overturned and burning out.
Yeah, and so you kind of stopped in to check up and see what's going on. And while you're out of the car, a mob came around the corner, and instead of being the howling, screaming mobs that you've seen on the TV and heard about, this mob was just all moving like in unison, almost eerily. And when Kevin was out of the car, the entire mob came like barreling around the corner on the next street over. They all stopped at once. They kind of all looked over at Kevin at once, and then just all turned and just started running at him. And they were all breathing hard because they had been running flat out, but they were all breathing hard in unison.
I think Kevin said something to the lines of, "Gotta go."
I think what he said actually was, "Nope."
No.
So they jumped in the car. They took off. They jumped in the Jeep. Kevin took off. They went speeding down the road, and the mob started chasing after them. And as that happened, as they were driving down the road, the mob's chasing after them. Ahead of them, the theme park burst into light, like the sun had just appeared up ahead. And the reason they were going to the theme park also was because Amy, who is an NPC in the game, has the god of Bacchus in her. And Bacchus has the ability to basically make anyone feel like they are inebriated, and they're absolutely in ecstatic search for stimuli of any kind. It's just a party. They want to feel and express and emote. And that's Bacchus' ability. It's called a Bacchanalian. Bacchus' ability is so powerful that he can even affect gods. And Amy had gone upstairs to change. She took a long time. Jack went up to check on her, and apparently Bacchus got a hold of Jack and everyone else who lived in that apartment building, and took them all with her and went somewhere. And they know that there is a rivalry that's happening right now between the god Bacchus and one of the only gods that has been actively trying to oppose Bacchus in this, and that's Osis, who is the Greek goddess of grief and anxiety and depression. And for some reason, when Bacchus showed up, apparently Osis showed up, and Osis has got it out for Bacchus for some reason. No one's been able to figure out why yet, because they really haven't had time. And so Osis is apparently kidnapped Amy's actual husband, who is a local city councilman, and that's what brought Amy to them. And so now they're just trying to figure out what's going on, cover up Bacchus' mess, and get this all fixed. But now the city seems to be on fire. So
and Kevin's dad threatened to shoot him.
Oh, and Kevin's dad did threaten to shoot him. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Kevin's dad is a cop, by the way, if we couldn't make things more complicated.
Yep.
All right. So you guys are in the Jeep. You're streaking towards the theme park. What are you guys doing? The mob is being left behind, but you're weaving through traffic. There's not really any other cars out. People seem to have locked themselves in their homes or in their businesses and basically boarded up the doors. And you can see that there are groups. And most of the groups you see are these groups of crazed people who are just like smashing out windows and hooting and hollering and singing. You even see one guy with a group who's literally got a slide trombone. And he's just playing the slide trombone, running along with the group. He's playing the slide trombone while running.
Yeah, no, I like, sir? Is that allowed? What the fuck?
And the sun is out.
Yes. And as you're driving straight towards it, it's like driving into the west after work. It sucks. Yeah, and in your head, you can hear him. He is just like, can we please do something about that?
I think that's the general idea. You got any ideas other than the sunglasses?
It's like that's that's really not my thing. You're the one who does all the the modern stuff like the glass things on your face. That's all you, buddy. I mean, you're the one who told me about sunscreen, so.
Yeah, that's true, but you don't sunburn anyway.
Yeah, I know, but it's still not comfortable. Plus, if you can't see, I can't see, that kind of sucks.
That's valid. Okay, so what are we? I'm driving at. Is there any reason to think that they aren't in the direction of the sun? Because, I mean, where the sun is, Apollo probably is, right?
Yeah.
That seems to be the general gist of things, yes.
You mean the sun god is where the midnight sun is? What the fuck?
Yeah. Terrible book. What?
I was trying not to make a reference.
I couldn't help it. All right. Roughly how far are we from where it's at?
Oh yeah, you are within like half a mile of the park now, and this is like 3/4 of your sky is now sun.
Okay. All right, guys. Here's the thing. From what I know about the myth of Apollo is, that's supposed to be a chariot. So either Ruben is in that or he is in the park. So I would say mission parameter 1 is we get Ruben and we slap some sense into him, and then we deal with our good friend the party god, and then we deal with the party god's little friend.
Are they friends? Little nemesis.
I mean, I wanted to run him over with the car, but you said no.
You can't just run people over. They're people.
I've done it before, but to be fair, they were throwing hand grenades at me.
Well, let's not run over, if we can help it, anyone.
Okay, so let's help Ruben first, because I
Yes.
get the impression that helping Ruben helps us the most.
And also, he's our friend.
Well, yeah. So I'm
shit right now. So
Yeah, I don't know how. Are you still driving at 120 miles an hour?
Yep. I was just about to say I'm still doing $120, so I imagine we're getting there pretty quick if we're only a half mile away.
What was that? Oh, hi! Thank you very much for the sub. I don't know who you are because I can't see it because I made my screen really tiny. Oh, hi, baby. That's my beautiful wife.
oh,
Yay! I'm trying to get this stupid thing to fix, but it won't fix. Sorry, I'm having some technical issues on my side. Let me turn that off and bring it back up. Holy shit. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we may be having a crash of OBS.
Oh no!
no.
Let's see if it happens or not. I am trying to stop it. I really, really am. Boop. Alright, it seems to be okay now. Woo!
Hooray!
Woo, that was close. Alright, so, but yes,
Okay.
No, I didn't ban you because of that. I was playing around with something on the chat thing, which I should not be doing, and I accidentally banned you, Fox Rider. But I quickly unbanned you. All right, so yes, you guys are sitting there and you're driving towards the sun. It is not a fun experience, and it kind of is very difficult for you to do this because, like I said, the sun just came out. So what I want you to do, Kevin, is I need you to make a roll in order to successfully maintain control of the car while weaving through traffic and making, while basically kind of being blind.
Okay.
And so I am going to give you a tag real quick.
Yep.
Oops. Blinded by the sun. And I'm going to put it at 1 because it just happened. But every single time you have to do a roll, it's going to go up by 1 for every single time you have to do a roll while you're still headed in that exact direction.
Okay. Then I want to. I would like to use combat and infiltration, tactical training.
Okay.
To help me with this.
You can do definitely tactical driving would apply.
I don't really see anything else that would really help with this.
Yeah, you didn't really take anything specific to driving.
I did not, just the tactical driving. So,
yep.
Okay.
So 1.
Mm-hmm.
I had to apply a -1 for the situational modifier. So that's going to give you a wash. So it's going to be a straight up roll.
Okay.
And you're going to be doing a roll to face the danger.
Okay. Got it. So that is a grand total of 8.
8. That is a success, but not a complete success. So there's going to be consequences. So
Okay.
And what happens is, as you're zooming down the street and you're trying to fight to see and make out things, you're sitting there weaving between cars and everything like that. And as you do that, that's just on the side of the road. And so now you basically tagged the Jeep with a tag of slightly wrecked. And it's only a 1 because you did not. It wasn't a huge consequence. But now, whenever you do anything with the Jeep, you're gonna have that slightly wrecked because it's not handling at its top performance anymore at all. So any further rolls you have to do with the Jeep are going to be with slightly wrecked being applied.
Okay, I'm gonna slow down the vehicle because I clipped it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I imagine it's pulling in that direction now. So while I'm resisting that.
So you're going to have to slow down significantly to really handle that consequence.
Yeah, I've taken my foot off of the accelerator, and I'm not even tapping the brake yet, just because we're going so fast.
Got it.
I know that the second I hit that brake, I know we're gonna spin out. So I'm just gonna let it kind of coast for a moment. I'm even gonna throw it into neutral while it coasts, and I try and hold it straight.
Got it. No problem. And that's not going to require a roll because you're actually doing what you need to do. You're slowing down and everything like that. So that's fine. What are you doing, Milagros, as you're in the car? Sonata is pretty much, seems to be like just talking to herself and rocking back and forth. And she's basically saying, it'll be okay. We just need to stay calm. It's going to be all right. We're going to be fine. And you notice that her face is very much that hooked beak of an eagle, and she's got like on her where her eyebrows were, there's now lines of feathers, and you see that plumage going back over her head. And you saw this happen once before.
Yep. Earlier.
But she does not seem to be doing well at this point.
No, I'm also trying not to fly out of the car. So I think I'm probably gonna put an arm around her and try to keep us both steady while Kevin gets things under control. And I'm definitely I've definitely got my eyes squeezed shut because I have nothing protecting my eyesight right now. And I don't want to go blind. But
there's an extra pair of sunglasses in the glove box.
Oh my god, thank you. Okay.
So you fumble around the
things in here. I've got to make sure that we can see.
Hella sunglasses.
Just dripping with sarcasm. It's like, way to go. Let the sun god get away from you and turn into the blazing inferno that we hate. So what are you doing, Milagros?
Yeah, so I put the sunglasses on so I can see something.
Yep.
I'm holding on to Sonata and kind of trying to help keep her from completely freaking out. And trying to figure out calling squirrels on the sun isn't exactly gonna help. So, and I don't have
and you can't really talk to anything unless it can go as fast as you can, and squirrels don't run that fast.
Yeah. So
you call out the squirrel and it's just like No, I meant wheels.
Oh no! No.
Squeak, squeaka.
I'm trying to I mean, when we do get closer to Ruben, I mean, this area isn't super barren or anything. I could probably.
No, it's not. This is like the Florida area, so everything is way overgrown. There's
awesome.
It's basically Orlando is kind of cut out of the northern end of the swamplands, and so it is all right there. You know what I mean? It is definitely not. You're not going to have a shortage of plant life. Let's just put it that way.
Perfect.
So what are you gonna do?
I'm just waiting to get closer at the moment.
All right.
So I'm not driving or anything.
As you're flying down the street, and Sonata, you're kind of holding. You're trying to. You're in the back seat with. Oh wait, there was only 3 of you in the car. So what is the seating arrangements? Were you in the front seat or the back seat? Because one of you's in the front seat and one of you's in the back seat because Chris is driving.
I would say I'm in the back seat.
Okay.
With Sonata.
Why? There would be the front seat. The front seat would be empty.
She's not doing well.
Well, you'd have to literally climb into the back. What I'm saying is there was no logical reason for you to got into the back seat with Sonata when you first took off. One of you would have jumped in the front seat and one of you would have been in the back seat. It's just, natural instinct. You jump in the front seat if you can.
Okay.
So I'm just telling you which transposing. What seat are you in?
I guess I'm in the front seat with Kevin then.
Sure, no problem. So what you're doing is you're reaching back and you're kind of reaching out and putting your hand on Sonata's knee and everything like that. And you're just it'll be okay. You're trying to keep her calm, and she opens her eyes for one brief moment and kind of tries to nod at you, and you see that her eyes are those split hair almond up down eyes of a bird. Golden eyes.
Oh God.
But she looks at you and she has a hopeful look on her face and she kind of smiles, and it's the weirdest thing because inside her beak are still her teeth.
Oh wow.
So she kind of smiles and the edges of her beaks actually curl up like lips trying to smile, and she kind of smiles and smiles at you, and then she just goes back to rocking back and forth. All right, Ruben.
Yes.
This is your fault.
So you are in the thralls of the... I've gotten the picture that Ruben's character is kind of stoic.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He kind of is reserved. Maybe because of the degree of emotions he actually feels. Maybe just due to anxiety and trying to rein himself in and control himself. But I got that impression from the way you portrayed him. So one of the things that I was going to say is that right now you are awash in an absolute sea of pleasure and sensory input that at first was absolutely overwhelming, but now you're feeling like you can reach out through every single sensory input that's coming in, and you can reach out and you can feel everything around you because everything around you can feel you. And you can feel Apollo using your body. And you can feel him in the same throes of ecstasy that you're in. And his normal, reserved nature has been shed. And he is back to the Apollo of his youth. The shining golden god. And he is fully reveling in his power. He has brought forth his golden chariot. He is standing upon it as he has not done in he doesn't know how long. And he is flying it above this park in circles. And he is just laughing and jubilant as he whips his white horses with the flaming manes. And the chariot is just tearing around the park. And sometimes it dips too low. And when it does that, like, a building will catch on fire. And Apollo just laughs and carries on like nothing is happening. And he's just like, he's feeling the joy, and he in your mind you can hear him, and he's like, "Do you feel it, Ruben? This is our purpose. This is what we were made for. To be in the sky, to be adored as gods. This is what I can offer you forever. Bacchus has opened my eyes. We don't have to be two separate things anymore. We can be one holy union of divinity and let the world bask in our splendor. Isn't this what you want?" And he kind of like soars the chariot straight up into the sky. And you see it almost spinning in a circle as it goes up. And you guys, as you're coming up, you see this, you can't see it, but there's this insanely bright dot goes streaking up. And the light that was coming out at you from ahead of you kind of like is now coming in a downward direction, because this glowing spark is going straight up into the sky, and even more of the area has become illuminated. And this is just as you come flying up the street, and you basically cut right, because you're on the fence line that seals in the parking lot for the resort is in front of you. So you cut right, and then you cut and you plow through the gates basically that are already down, and you're driving into the parking lot, and you can see this dot going up, and Apollo just like he's so high up now that the park is like below you is just like it looks like a map below you, and you can see some parts are now clearly on fire. But he kind of looks around, and he brings the chariot up and looks around. And he's like, all these people, all of them would worship us. They would all bow at our feet. They would all show us the grace and reverence that we deserve. You deserve. You are my vessel. You are that which contains this glory. You deserve this. And you can feel an odd sensation as you get this high up. You feel the veil of this haze of jubilation lift. as if you're being drawn out of it. And you can feel that the whatever presence or pressure was being pushed upon you to put you into this state has weakened somehow. And because of your intimate connection with him, you can feel that it's basically the same for Apollo, but also he doesn't seem to be trying to relinquish his control. And in your mind, of much more sober-toned Apollo says, "It doesn't matter. We can still have this. All you have to do is say yes."
Ruben thinks in his head, I think in my head, and I just start repeating the names of my parents and my name, where I used to live as a kid, where I went to school, just trying to like keep my identity to me, because Apollo is so prevalent in my mind, it's hard to keep track of who I am. And for a moment, for a long pause, I don't respond. And then I say to Apollo, I thought this was going to be just us. What Bacchus is doing to us, this isn't natural. This isn't you, and this isn't me. We have to settle things first. Then we can talk about reverence. We can talk about worship. We have to settle things first.
You almost can feel Apollo like squaring his shoulders, kind of like taking a deep breath, squaring his shoulders, and it's almost like he turns to face you in your mind's eye, and he says, "No, you're right. It just felt good for a minute to be that what I was." He says, "I will bring us back, and you and I will settle with Bacchus." He says, "And I'll tone the chariot down a bit." He was like,
"We scorched the earth, there won't be many to worship."
It's like, he says, just in your head, he says, just almost glibly, and you don't hear this from him very often, and maybe still the effects of the Bacchanalian, he says, "Don't drive drunk, kids." And the chariot dims out almost immediately, and it's just basically now, it's now a flying chariot being pulled by horses with fiery manes and tails. And so you guys, the sun kind of just disappears. There's still this glowing thing up in the sky you can see, but it begins coming down in this huge looping spiral down towards the earth. And you guys are driving through the parking lot. You come flying up to the entrance of the park. And you can't drive through those because they're freaking little turnstiles, and you'll destroy the Jeep. So you come screeching to a halt. As you come to a halt, you see that some of the turnstiles have literally just been smashed to pieces, as if a great press of people have come through there. And you can see there's actually a few bodies of people who are like probably crushed by a mob as they try to come through. Oh, and you do see that there is at least one dead security guard. And so you guys come up on the front of the thing, and so that's what you see when you get out of the car. And Sonata is kind of sitting there, and she's rocking back and forth, and she says, don't take me near the bodies. I can't.
All right.
She's going to do something bad.
We won't. It's okay.
You stay here. We got this.
So you guys she's sitting in the back of the Jeep, and you see she kind of just like curls up almost into the fetal position. She has her arms wrapped around her knees, and you can hear Sarah going, "It's not right, not again. You said not again, not again." And she's just rocking back and forth, as trying to contain that which was in her. You guys pile out of the Jeep and you start heading inside. As you're coming up, it's a long alleyway, long, big, wide street, and on either side there's these ramshackle-looking buildings, which they're designed to look ramshackled, but they're all like curio shops and souvenir shops and like little drink things and everything like that. The usual stuff at the entrance to a theme park. And the street quickly widens out into a huge huge open area that has just like a bunch of benches and stuff like that are placed around a circle, and in the middle of it there is a giant statue that is basically a dedication to the founder of the feast, which is a statue of a character that looks like an amalgamation of Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees. And it's this big, huge, hulking guy who has claws on each hand, and he's kind of standing there with his hands uplifted to the sky. And at the bottom there's a little plaque, and the plaque says, "For all the scares that have come before, and all the scares that will come from now, may you enjoy your time here in Zombieland." And you guys are, as you look at that, on the other side of this circle, there is this huge mansion that is just it's just falling apart in disrepair, and there is there's a walkway leading up to it, and the mansion itself, there's a sign above the entrance to that little walkway going up to it, and it says the haunted mansion, enter if you dare, must be this tall to ride this ride. But you can see that there are signs of, there's blood stains on the rails. There's signs that people went tearing up this thing and probably went into this building. Right about then, the chariot that we saw flying down comes and lands in the square. And Apollo releases all control back to you. And the moment he does that, the chariot just winks out of existence. And you almost fall a couple of feet from where the chariot was to the ground and catch yourself. But you don't know what caused him to lose control, but somehow Bacchus lost control.
Hey, Allie, I don't think that's what they meant when they started talking about shooting stars.
Listen, man, great joke. What the fuck happened, Ruben?
I was in my room and Amy asked me to do a drawing, and of course I just said sure. I mean, she seemed upset, and so I did, and something happened. She must have touched me. I don't know. But then I was lost. Apollo and we were lost.
What I'm getting here is, don't let her touch you.
No, by any means, do not let Amy touch you.
I'm going to search the security guard for anything that might be useful. Handcuffs, nightstick, baton, anything. Taser.
Yeah, he has an asp. He has a bottle of pepper spray, a pepper spray dispenser. He has a taser, but where his pistol would be, there is only an empty holster.
Fuck. I'm gonna pull the taser and the pepper spray. I'm gonna hold them up in each hand and be like, all right, I've already got pepper spray on me. Pick your poison, kids.
I'll take the pepper spray.
I'm gonna hand the pepper spray over. I'm gonna hand Ruben the taser. I'm gonna grab the asp.
Ruben does not accept the taser.
Okay. Well, then you stay on the back end. And I'm gonna put the taser in my pocket, and I'm gonna grab the asp, and I'm gonna hold that in my hand, and I'm gonna pull my pistol.
Okay. Hang on a second, Kevin. What What's your plan here? What's the game plan? I've been gone. What are you guys?
The game plan is to knock Amy the hell out.
Yeah, I mean, initially it was to find you, and then we found you very, very clearly.
Yeah. Step one,
now you're here.
Complete.
Yeah.
Step two, put an end to this side of the craziness, and then we got to go deal with Bacchus's little friend that's got the other half of town going absolutely batshit crazy.
Look around you. The Bacchanalian is ended, at least for now.
As you say that, you see or you hear crashing of metal, and you look back through the circle down that long little street that leads into the center of this portion of the park, and you can see that there is a throng of people. It's dark now again, so you can't really make them out directly, but you can see there's a throng of people that are pushing through those turnstiles, and most of them are going through the broken ones that were already destroyed, but the rest of them are just still trying to push through, and it is a larger mob than you saw in the street, Kevin. And it is now made up not only of people who look to be like in hospital gowns and hospital gear, but there's other people there who seem to have joined it. Just people off the street. Some people in their pajamas, like they got out of bed.
Crap.
Oh my God.
Maybe I spoke too soon. Listen.
No, I think this is the other guy. We need to find Amy, and we need to find this other dude, and we need to put an end to this like now before what's left of town is dirt.
We can't fight them. They're gods. They could just incinerate us. I don't know.
No. Your god can incinerate us. I put a bullet in the human host of these guys, they go down. Just as easily if they put a bullet in me.
Let's try not to commit mass murder, though.
And then the hundreds of their followers rip us to shreds. You don't have enough bullets for all of them, Kevin.
No. All I need is 2. All I need is 2, but we got to find the source of each half of this.
I was speaking to Apollo, and he said, we need to have words with Bacchus. We need to settle with Bacchus. If we spoke God to God, if maybe, and you see that Ruben's just kind of, I'm grasping for meaning, for thought, for something, and I'm on to something, but it's just not formulating. And then I finally stutter. I just need you to get me in front of Amy. That's all I need. Get me to Amy.
That's fine, but I can't guarantee that I won't have to hurt people on the way.
Let's just start moving. How about we start?
Oh,
moving?
I assumed we were moving, and
yeah, but let's
So
start walking like gays drinking iced coffee. Like
I
that leads into the mansion. So
all right. So as you're walking up there, do you start just following the rail back up?
Oh hell no!
Just jumping over the rails.
Yeah, over.
Oh
well, the big thing is it's kind of going up because the rails go. It's like a ramp. It's going up in height, and the actual mansion seems to be on an artificial rise up that makes it overlook the center of the park. So you're kind of climbing up the rails and everything like that. And you make your way up. It's really fucking awkward. But as you get to the top, the throng of people crosses. When they come through the gate, they don't come running down the street. They mill around until that entire mob has pushed all this way through the Jeep. It's the gate. I mean, it's almost like a flow, and it fills that street. And then, as unison, they all turn and they begin walking up the street towards a circle.
They're headed towards the circle now.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right, let's move.
And as you guys go climbing up the railing, get up there, you get to the top. And when you get to the top, you look back, and they are in the circle. And as they come through the circle, they kind of fan out. And as they fan out, they kind of separate. And this figure comes from the middle of the throng. And it looks human. It's a woman, and she's wearing what looks to be a dress, a light summer sundress type thing. She's got flowing black hair, but when it gets to her lower portion of her body, her below her torso, her body is not human anymore. It is a long body of a snake that is trailing behind her. And as she comes up, an oddly quiet voice drifts up to you. And it says, "You are not he I seek. Do not stand between us and a reckoning."
Ruben will step forward and he will say, "Oases, let's talk."
She says, "I see you, shining boy, uncle's favorite, always dancing across the sky on your important errands. Never once did I ever speak to you. Never once did you ever deign to speak to me. Little Louise is the sad one in the corner." He says, "You know what I've found? Once you give these mortals time, and once you make their lives easy enough for them to think, instead of just trying to survive, they begin to understand the pointlessness of their existence. They begin to delve into this. They begin to come to worship me. I never felt power like this before. Not when you were all the rage with your beauty and your art, inspiring them as they toiled away. But since then, they've gone to these insipid things. Their internet, their mindless seeking of the next good thing. It's no wonder Bacchus is here. But this time, he doesn't get to run around and call all the shots. This time, I have power. And I'm not going to let anyone slight me, sun god."
Is that what you think? Is this all rage to you? All these people who have suffered, I'm sure.
He's like, "Oh, I can feel them suffering. It's my domain. Their hurt, their sadness, their despair. That's mine. That was what I was given when you were given the sun."
They are not yours to be played with. They're not mine to be played with.
Like,
these people have their own free will, and you've taken it from them. They go to you willingly, then that's that. What is this?
And she kind of looks. She kind of looks around and says, "They don't go to me willingly. Half of them were locked up. The other half of them were trapped. No one reaching out, no one helping." She says, "None of them come to me willingly. They come to me because no one else will accept them. And I do. Because I know. I was born to know what they are experiencing because I am what they are experiencing. I am the only one who knows them, and because of that, I am the only one they can love."
Ruben, I turn away from the crowd. I turn away from Weesees, and I address the throng that's surrounding the goddess. And I speak and I say, "Is this what you think? That at the end of it all goes back to her? That whatever you do, wherever you're trapped, that's the end all be all? I have been where you have been. I've been under her throngs for almost all my life. And I know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. No, not the sun. Happiness. Joy. Sadness, depression, it all ends eventually. There is nothing that she will bring you but more suffering, but more pain, until all that's left of you is a husk of your former self, a thrall.
And she kind of like looks around and she says, "You still don't understand. Your meritorious speeches, your soliloquies." She says, she looks around. "You see all these and you think thrall. You think that they're here because I gave them no choice. Like you used to.
You make them see that there's no way out.
There is.
Is.
Yes! Me!
Can I shoot her now?
Yeah.
I'm done with this.
You can absolutely shoot her now.
I jerk my head to Kevin.
Yeah? Alright.
All right. So this is what we're going to do. Kevin, you need to decide what skills you're using for this.
Alright. So we've got the .45 caliber pistol, for sure.
Let's turn off the bounty hunter stuff. Sorry, I took that off. You already put that on. Okay, go ahead.
Yep. So .45 caliber pistol. Yeah, I was gonna say.
You've been jostling around a lot tonight, so I am gonna apply your weakness tag for the .45 caliber because you don't know what's possibly has happened to it from all the freaking chaos tonight. So there may be something wrong with it.
Totally fair. Tactical training because this is not my first rodeo in this particular instance. Let me see. I'm also, is it, given that I was raised by a cop and how much I've been around firearms before and just the nature of being on the streets in general, would I be able to put from the streets on here as well?
That won't really apply.
Okay.
Because this is...
That's why I wanted to ask, yeah.
Yeah, this is more chaos than anything else.
Okay.
But Vengeful definitely would apply.
Vengeful would apply, yes. So that puts me at an even wash.
Mm-hmm. Now, remember, if you want a trait from either the... Since you use Bounty Hunter and Combat Infiltration, you can burn a trait from either one, which will give you an automatic 10, which is a success. But that means you cannot use that particular trait for the rest of the scene.
Okay. You know what? I will do that, and I'm going to unload the clip into her head.
Got it. All right. So you now have a 10. You don't have to roll because it basically gives you a fixed value. Mm-hmm. Okay. I took away Blinded by the Sun because the sun's no longer out. And you're not in the Jeep, so we can't fly slightly wrecked. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a single scene tag for a -1. And that is because I am going to put in the tag of long range, because you are definitely at long range for a pistol. You're well over 25 yards away.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, you're at long range for a pistol. So that makes it a 9, which is not an absolute success, but still a success.
Okay.
So, Kevin draws his pistol, beads down, and just starts capping shots off. The first 2 shots bury into her into her torso, and she just hisses and rocks backwards. What happens next? You're popping off shots. You're not even thinking about it, because the cordite smoke is going out, and you're just popping off rounds now into the same general direction after the first of the shots.
Hero thing where we're popping off shots and taking steps forward at the same time. Yeah.
And there's a lot of motion in front of you as you're taking the shots, and then when all the cordite clears and the smoke clears, you see that almost a bunch of her followers have thrown themselves across her body and taken the rounds.
No.
And you hear a bunch of them moaning in pain. And right as you hear that, at the top of where the entrance to the haunted mansion is, the doors burst open, and you see Amy standing there, and there's wind blowing out of the mansion. Her hair is whipping around her. Her eyes are freaking huge. Her pupils are fully dilated. She has this massive rictus grin on her face, and she opens and she says, I can feel it. The pain, they feel it now. She says, they know it's a lie now. You feel it too. She says, I don't know why you did me this favor. And she kind of looks at you, Kevin, and you feel the fangs in your head. You feel him go. You just feel him kind of like bristle. And he is, like, just wants to freaking tear her apart. And he says, but this is all I needed. He says, and for that, I'll let you be. She says, but now I need to deal with a party crasher. And Amy's standing there, and she kind of just like raises her hands up, almost like an ecstatic salute, and people start just pouring out of the entrance of the haunted mansion. And they're like literally just falling over the rails and tumbling down and wrecking themselves and jumping down the railing. And this hurt, and just like not even caring if they hurt themselves, just going down. And it's like pouring out of the building, but none of them touch you. Every single one of them just dances around you and avoids touching it. And they go pouring down, and they slam into the mob, covering up Uzis. And they're basically, it's this huge melee breaks out as they begin tearing into each other, battering on each other, and it quickly becomes apparent that something is different about Uzis' mob. They're not as focused. They're not all doing that in unison thing. They are disjointed. Some of the ones on the edge, you can see that are running for it. Good night, Fox Rider. Good night. And but the ones nearest to Uzis are still trying to defend her, still trying to fight, but they're quickly overpowered. And after a few minutes, you see then that a few moments, not minutes, that the mob has basically either rendered them senseless or killed all the members that Uzis had present.
Ruben, you want to get in front of Bacchus? Now's your chance.
Yeah, Bacchus is still standing up there, and she is just like watching with this rapt awe and that grin on her face as she's just like almost growling through the grin, and she's like, more blood, more. And her mob is just continuing to they're just like rending bodies randomly, just like it's and then she's like, and she goes like, no, save her, bring her. And you see that they're dragging, instead of dragging the half human, half snake creature, they're now dragging a young woman. She is beaten. She screams as they raise her up. You can see she's been shot twice in the torso.
Gee, I wonder how that happened.
And they raise her up, and they begin dragging up the stairs. And they're like, no. And as they drag her up the stairs, they're kind of just like, just dragging her along, and she's screaming. It's like, no, I need her alive. He says, bring her up carefully. And they begin, like, the two that were dragging along, they were laughing and like dragging along. One was like slapping her in the back of the head as they're dragging her up, and then they go, and they get all reverent now with her, and they're almost cradling her as they bring her up the ramp and up to Bacchus. And Bacchus is standing there waiting. So what are you guys doing?
Is there an alternative way to get up to Bacchus?
Not really. I mean, you can like do the same thing you're doing as climbing, or you can run back and forward up the ramp, but you can just climb up there faster. Just kind of diving under the rail, then reaching up and pulling yourself up and going under that rail. It's only like 3 tiers up though, but I mean, in height wise, that's like 15 feet.
Allie, do you have anything that can get Ruben up there relatively quickly?
Well, there's plant life all over the place. Each one of these tier levels is like got plants growing all in it, vines, trees on the sides, everything's there.
I mean,
I think I've asked Fangs for enough favors tonight. I think he's getting a little pissed at me.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair. I can handle this. So I mean, it's gonna be a little bit awkward, but I can kind of. What? It's gonna be a little awkward. I was talking to rats earlier. Okay, give me a second.
Fair point. Fair point.
So, like, it's not gonna be the most graceful thing ever, but I can kind of have. I can have.
Is it a pumpkin chariot?
No.
Then it's not that awkward after all.
No, but I can have it kind of like wound up and like, kind of like lifted, kind of like a burrito.
I see what you mean. Like coil me with vines and then have the vines
and then like
thrust me forward. Okay, yeah.
I'm all about it.
All right. So you call on the mother, and you ask her to lend her your strength, and you begin summoning up the will to do this, and you feel this presence in you, and you feel yourself being filled with her power. And it's always this storm when she comes into you and she fills you, and you feel this connection to the ground, this connection to the earth, the connection to all things living around you. You can feel how well they're doing, how healthy they are. You can feel what's been done to them, that they're being forced to live in this unnatural place. But you can also feel that, there are creatures all over here that have learned to thrive here. There's, and everything like that. So as you reach out, you feel all this, the connection, and you also hear that beautiful voice that is always so mellow in your head saying, she is not going to go simply.
Of course not.
She is madness. We have dealt with madness before.
Well, maybe how about we get the bloodshed to stop first?
We'll take the boy up there and see what he does.
Yeah.
Oh, so Jack, the vines, Reuben, the vines wrap around, or Jack, the vines wrap around Reuben, and begin lifting him up, carrying him up, and they deposit him right beside Bacchus. Bacchus doesn't even pay attention. Bacchus is looking down and watching them bring. Yeah, Bacchus is watching his show. Yeah, and so they're bringing up, and he's like, and Bacchus is standing there and says,
"I'm watching my stories."
What? Are you going to naysay again and say how this is not right?
No.
This is like,
that's not what I've come here to do.
Well, isn't that special? Finally coming around, want to join the party? And she holds out her hand. Just take it. It feels better than whatever you're feeling now.
I'm going to reach out to Apollo in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say, this is it. Together?
And he says, we have to be together. If we weren't together, you wouldn't survive. Your friends are going to be hurt. They're too close. But I think I can leave them alive.
Then let's do this. And I'm going to reach out with both of my hands, and instead of touching Amy's outstretched hands, I'm going to push both my hands and push her downwards, down the rails and down things with all my might, with Apollo and I's might.
All right.
Kevin's just cheering. Go, Ruben!
So, Ruben,
ass!
We need to find something that'll let you do this. Street smart might help. When you're a vagabond.
Because I basically sucker pushed her.
Yeah. And let's see here. I don't think unless you want to apply it somehow, I don't think your weakness would apply from that.
No, I wouldn't think so either. What about like clockwork? Because Ale was the one who was able to get me in range.
Yeah, definitely. That's that's kind of like a tag team there. And we will apply the weakness from that one because you are breaking your moral code on this. You're basically trying to kill someone.
just gently.
Just gently. And I was going to say, if you want to do something, if you want to put a uniquely Apollo spin on it, instead of pushing her with your hands, because that would involve touching Bacchus, you can actually use your voice and hit a high note and use manifest the music to push Bacchus off the edge.
Like Banshee.
Do it.
I love that. I would like to say I'm not aiming for lethal. I want to knock the senses of Bacchus out of Amy. I want Amy to come back. But if pushing her off this ledge is going to kill her, then so be it. Yeah.
If she dies, she dies.
Yeah.
So before we make this roll, because we have been going for about an hour and a half now, let's take a 10-minute break and give people, because I need to get another drink, and we'll let everyone get drinks and take a 10-minute break, and we'll be right back to finish out this scene. So we'll be back in 10 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. It is 9:24. We'll be back at 9:34.
See you soon.
Yeah.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for giving us that brief respite. We really appreciate it. As we were leaving, Ruben was about to use his abilities to try and push Amy down the flight of stairs, down the walkway, I should say, and hopefully the intent is to break her free of Bacchus's grip. Now,
using the coolest D&D spell of all time, Manifest Music.
Manifest Music. It's not even a D&D spell. So you use Manifest Music. You use Street Smarts because that's kind of how you manipulated the situation to get up with her. And then what else were you using?
Clockwork.
Clockwork, because you did it. Basically, it was a team up with Alejandra. So
I'm burning Manifest Music. Let's get a 10.
Ooh.
All right. So I did apply morality to that on that, and Sneak Smart can't mix with higher society, doesn't matter too much. Animating and mastering. Trying to read your weakness tag.
How about perfect pitch or perfect tempo? Perfect pitch to get just that right.
Get that
Sonic Blast.
Ruben is the Black Canary.
Truly.
So you've got a 10. You only have one negative tag. And by the way, when you guys do the negative tags, are you marking the build-up meter on your character card?
I have not.
Yes. I've got 2 build-ups now.
Oh, I don't see them. Oh, they're there. Got it. All right, and so you basically have, the plus, an overall net of +2. So +2 on the 10 makes it a 12, which is an absolute success. So Ruben, or should I say Jack, how does this action take place? Describe the scene.
Ruben blasts Bacchus and Amy with this sonic boom that shakes the entire space. You can feel the tremors of it coming from his voice. And it throws Amy and Bacchus far across into the far wall and is restraining them just straight up against the wall with just the concussive force of the blast. And as this is happening, he speaks, though not from his voice, kind of in a booming voice. Him and Apollo together, saying, "You will trouble all of us no more." Bam.
All right. So Amy goes. Apollo's voice booms out with that statement, and Amy goes flying across the landing where she's at and slams into, because the entrance to the Magic Mountain has like a big walled off entryway where people filter in and out of it, and she flies off and slams into that wall. As her followers are bringing the woman up the stairs, they're kind of all knocked flat on the ground, and they drop her. And Amy with Bacchus slams into the wall, and she's pinned there, and her eyes, it's like there's a roaring of wind that goes along with the sound and everything like that. And she's pinned there, her eyes are flickering, and she's pinned up against the wall, and her eyes kind of come out, and she kind of her head kind of slumps forward, and she stumbles forward, and she kind of drops to her knees. And as she's sitting there on her knees, she kind of take 2. She kind of sits up a little bit, and she rocks back on her heels, and she opens her eyes, and she starts blinking and looking around. And as she does that, the 2 men who are bringing up the young woman, they kind of stop, and they're looking around. It's like, the guy's like, "Where the fuck are we?" And the guy's like, I don't. And Amy kind of looks up at you, Ruben, and she's like, "Ruben, where are we?"
Amy says this?
Yep.
Does she fall down?
Yeah, she fell down. Like, she was hanging on the wall, and then when you stop speaking and the sound goes away, she kind of just dropped down to her knees and then kind of slumped forward a little bit. And when she lifted her head, she said, you see the other two guys, and what Alejandro and Kevin see is that the mob that was milling around, just like waiting for Bacchus' next command, they're all looking up at this, the raised building with rapt awe, and they're just like staring up at it, and then all of a sudden they all start looking around at each other, and they're kind of like, and some of them like have blood and gore and viscera all over them, and they're just like looking and says, "Oh my god!" and they start freaking out, and the other people are just like, "What's going on?" And they begin all talking to each other, and
I'll shout over them and just be like, "Hey, what are you doing in the park this late?" I'm gonna hold the taser and just be like, "Get out!"
All right. So some of them are like, "Oh shit," and they start leaving. The others are like just looking around at all the fucking bodies. And they're flipping out, and so you're sitting there with, and so some of them begin yelling, and one of them yells back at you, and he's like, "What the fuck happened here? What the fuck's going on? Call the police! What are you doing?"
I already called the cops because you idiots broke into the park. Get the fuck out of here before I have you arrested.
So there is people literally losing their fucking minds because they're like in this carnal house of horrib's, and
I'm just came to disperse as many of them as I can.
Yes, and like I said, some of the ones, especially the ones in the periphery, they're some of them are already trying to leave and get out of here. You are sitting there and doing that. Milagros, what is Alejandro doing?
Well, I mean, I would like use all this foliage to like get rid of them, but then that's just gonna make them freak out harder.
How much peyote did I take?
I don't want to go full poison ivy and start snatching people.
Oh my god, we have a full DC crew.
We do.
Go check on Amy.
Yeah. I'll go down and check on Amy.
Right.
Not gonna jump.
Oh no, Amy's still up there on the same level with Ruben. She just got slammed into the wall.
Okay,
remember, there's only one wall. There's only one building she can be slammed into, and that's the haunted mansion.
Okay, then I'm gonna go check on her. I'm not dealing with. This is supposed to be my night off. God damn it! I deal with enough screaming on a daily basis. I'm gonna go check on Amy.
And I'm basically dressed like a plainclothes security guard.
Yeah, Kevin's just yelling at everyone.
So are you kind of walking down the ramp, Kevin, to do crowd control, basically?
Yeah.
All right. So Kevin's going down. Alejandro, you run up. Ruben, what are you doing?
I place my hand on Amy's shoulder.
So you walk up to Amy?
Yeah, and I'm going to say...
And the Bacchanalia begins again. What?
No, and you're going to say what?
I'm going to say, it's over now. We took care of Bacchus. He's not going to trouble you, at least for a little while. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. I'm going to comfort her.
And she's like, she kind of like looks around. She gets this weird look on her face, and she's like, I lost it again, didn't I?
Yeah. You did.
Why does this keep happening? Why can't you all control yours? How come I can't control mine?
It's always really hard in the beginning. When they first wake up, they really don't like being under our control.
She kind of sits there and she says, "It's just not right. I can't do this. It's like I don't even know where my husband is." And she kind of looks around. And she's like, "Have you guys seen him at all?"
We'll find him. We promised you we would find him, and we're going to.
Yeah.
Ale, please take care of Amy. I have to do something. And Ruben's gonna get up. Mm-hmm. And he's gonna go try to find the severely wounded woman who's
she's laying right there.
Okay.
They brought her up here. She's laying right there.
I'm going to just quickly look her over. Is she
alive?
Dying?
No, she is not doing well, but she's not dead. She's unconscious. She's been shot twice and beaten a little bit.
How much is she bleeding?
Oh, she's been shot twice.
Is there like a pool of blood forming underneath her?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Good. Just want to know the picture.
Center torso mass. She is probably going to die if she doesn't get to a hospital.
I'm going to kneel.
You don't have your cell phone.
Next to her. I don't. And I don't think she's going to get there in time if you're going to ask me. But I'm going to kneel next to her. And I'm going to gently cradle her in her head. Gently cradle her. And just kind of gently shake her and gently just kind of get her out of shock. And as she's laying there, suffering from her wound and dying, I'm going to sing to her. Just a soft lullaby. I'm not going to perform it because obviously it's hard to ad-lib something like that. But basically just a lullaby, comforting her and just saying like, you know, it's all going to be okay. You're going somewhere nice and that everything's going to pass. That she's not going to be alone.
As you're kind of like you just like have your hand on her. You're trying to comfort her that way. Yes.
Yeah, I'm cradling the back of her neck, just like holding her head up.
All right.
And I've got my other hand on her chest. I'm just kind of singing to her as she's laying there dying.
And she's laying there and she looks up at you, and you know she is in obvious pain. Her face is like streaked with, you know, blood and you can see that there's tears coming out of her eyes.
I'm crying too.
And she looks up at you and she says, I don't understand. They said I was gonna get better.
You will get better. That light is still going to be there.
This is, I guess. But when they kept on telling me that everything was going to get better, and they kept on giving me things and changing the things. And it just, when she came, she could take it away. All I had to do was let her.
She can't control you any longer.
Just
Be sure of that.
She kind of looks at you and she says, I know. And that's the problem. I've got no one left.
I'm here. I'm here with you. I don't know you, but I love you. And I am so sorry.
And she kind of just like closes her eyes, and you can feel her breathing getting raspier, and then finally she just takes one long shuddering breath and she stops.
I'm going to close her eyes, let her head rest again, and I'm going to place my hand one last time on her chest and close my eyes and just mourn while Kevin's rounding up the last of them out
always comforting Amy. I'm just going to be there with her, as I did while she was dying. Just be there with her as she's gone.
Alejandro, you're sitting there with Amy, and as you're talking to her, as you're holding her, as you're kind of sitting there, and Amy's talking to you, and Amy looks over, and she sees Ruben sitting with this girl, and she looks at the girl and she says, "I remember her. She looked different." She kind of looks around. She sees like the carnage down below, and she was like, she looks around. She sees Kevin like trying to talk to people and trying to tell people to get going. There is now flashing lights up by the turnstile as police cars are coming up. You do notice that there is some glow coming from the other side of the park, where Apollo accidentally set some of the buildings on fire, and so there is a decent fire raging over there. And Amy kind of is looking around, and her eyes just keep on shifting from scene to scene to scene. And she kind of just says, she's looking around, she's like, "I can't."
We're gonna figure this out, okay?
Ray, if any of the people were giving me a hard time about leaving, I would have actually pulled out my cell phone and called the police. Just like, look, this is the scene. I've got guys that won't leave. This is who my dad is. And just like mad dog the people that won't leave. Just like,
there's some people here who are completely unhinged.
Yeah.
And there are some people who are like just like on their knees crying, surrounded by all these mangled bodies.
Yeah.
And
I'm not as harsh on the ones that are like crying, but like the ones that are like
and there's some that are angry and they're demanding answers. They want to know what the hell happened, and there's others who are just like walking off almost absently.
Yeah, I'm trying to out asshole the assholes. And like I'm being nice to the ones that are like clearly just distraught, and I'm just trying to out asshole the assholes.
So through all that, you're basically in a position where you're tied up pretty much exclusively.
Yeah.
On trying to maintain the situation. As you're talking to them, police officers are coming running down the way.
As soon as I see them, I wave them.
Yeah. You actually see them. They pull aside one of they open up a gate that obviously is a security gate for for emergency vehicles to come through the main entrance, and police cars start coming down the main entrance. The officers start getting out of the cars, guns drop, and they begin telling people to get down on the ground. As standard operating procedure in a situation like this. You get down, you comply, and everything like that.
Absolutely.
So they get everyone down on the ground. Some people have to be tased. They're just too far. They're not responding, or they're like the ones who are really like almost ready to come to blows with you. When the police officers can begin barking commands at them, for some of them, a couple of them, that's like the last thing, and they just go nuts, and the officers end up having to physically restrain them. The other people, the officers, they get everything under control, but it is for a number of minutes. It is a chaotic scene. While all that's happening, you guys are up there with Amy. I'm assuming you're going to come down with Amy?
Yeah.
Okay. As you guys are coming down the stairs with Amy, she's kind of just like, she just keeps on walking by people, and she sees them, and she kind of looks at them, and she just like, by the time you get down to the bottom of the ramp where the real carnage is, she is just like barely, she's moving, but she's not really seems to be with it anymore. she is just openly weeping and looking around, and you come downstairs, and the police are like, get down on your hands and knees. But when you come down the stairs, by this time, Kevin, you've been able to, present ID and everything like that, and so you're up. The other police officers are taking care of things. There's now ambulances coming in. As you guys are looking around, and people are being helped out, and police officers are looking around the carnage, and some of the police officers look like fucking ghost pale. This is things that they never see. And as they're looking around, when you get told to get down on your knees, Alejandra, and everything like that, you and Amy both get down. You kind of have to let go of Amy, and you both get down on your knees, and you're kind of kneeling where all the bodies are at the base of the ramp. So it's kind of gross. But as you're kneeling there, the officers are like, they ask you who you are. Kevin, you come running over to them, and as you're sitting there and you're talking back, you're talking with the officers, and you're saying, no, they're with me, and the officers are giving you some flack, and you're going back and forth with them, and they finally are like, oh, okay, well, all right, just keep them out of our hair, blah, blah, blah. And so as you're walking over, and Alejandra's, Alejandra, you got guns pointed at you, and your hands are behind your head.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not.
Ruben, I'm assuming you're doing the same thing? Ruben?
Yeah, although he's kind of non-responsive. He's doing everything they're asking, but his eyes are just blank. He's not not talking to anybody.
And as you guys are sitting there kneeling down there, Ruben, you were the last one to come down, so you're kind of still up near where the little the little entrance is to the ramp up to the ride. So it's kind of like Ruben there, Amy's kind of between you guys, where the bodies actually start, and then Alejandra's kind of a little bit off to Amy's left. And Alejandra, you actually kind of look for a dry spot to kneel down.
Yeah, I'm I already cleaned up blood today.
And Amy kind of just went down on her hands and knees, kind of right by the bodies, and she didn't really give two shits. She just kind of fell to her knees. Yeah. So as the police officer's go ahead and get them out of here, Amy is sitting there for a moment, and she's got her hands on her head and her head's down, and she kind of she looks up and looks around real quick. She's got this weird look on her face. And then she looks over at you, Alejandra. And she just looks at you, and she's got this almost pleading look on her face. And she says, I fucking can't. I'm sorry. And her hand just dives down, and she comes up with a pistol that was apparently on the body in front of her. And you recognize it almost instantly, Kevin, as standard issue 9mm from a security guard.
Oh shit.
Amy, you don't have to do this.
And she doesn't even hesitate. Now, she has to figure out how to work the pistol.
I'm gonna taser.
Huh?
I have the security guard's taser. I taser.
Okay. Go ahead, and you burned the 45, but that's not really what you'd use for this.
Yeah.
Let's see. What would you do? Tactical training still help out here.
Okay.
And
this would, this would examining the scene count, because I watched her do it.
No, examining the scene is more of takes time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the tactical training is the only thing that I got. Then,
yep. But your weakness tag would not count because you're not looking for vengeance.
No, I'm not.
All right, so go ahead and roll it.
Okay.
Oh, hang on 1 second. I was trying to see if there's anything in your thing that could actually do that. Do.
And I'm gonna do what I was taught to do by my dad, which was yell gun first before I tase her.
All right. So you go ahead and snap the taser forward as she is basically trying to snap the pistol up to her head.
Yeah.
And go ahead and make the roll.
That's a 10 on die.
And you have a +1.
So that's 11.
All right. So just as she goes to basically, you see her reach out and pick up the pistol as she says the last phrase, and she is picking the pistol and she is like lifting it up almost immediately, and you hear the click, and you see these two silver streaks come through with these wires attached to them, and they strike her right in the chest, and you hear this weird clicking noise, and she begins to just like freeze in place and shake, and she kind of just like falls over sideways. The gun clatters away, and she's like shaking like that, and you see a bunch of other police officers around this situation. They all draw their firearms again, and they're looking around, and they see Kevin and holding a taser on this woman, and they're like, "Drop the taser! Drop it!"
Yeah, and I let it go.
All right, and they come running over, and there's like, "What the?
Get the gun, dumbass!"
The guy goes like, "What gun?" And he looks over. He's like, "Oh shit, a gun!"
Oh my god.
Well, yeah, because I yelled gun when I fired the
I know, but they're
they're-
you're a civilian in civvy clothes, and they did the natural response when someone yells gun. They got low and drew their guns.
Gun! Oh shit, gun!
So Amy is senseless right now because she's just been had 12,000 volts run through her body, or 20,000 I think with a hand taser. But anyway, so it's a lot, and so she's kind of like out of her wits. The cop kicks the gun away. Another cop comes over and is like, and he kind of looks at you guys and says, "She had the gun?" And when you nod, one of them just like instantly rolls her over and they slap her in cuffs. And the guy says like, "What was she doing? Who was she attacking?"
You.
Huh?
I'm gonna point up. I was like, she and that lady up there were in an altercation.
Okay.
And I don't know. She hired she hired me. These are my friends. She hired me to be her bodyguard. And I don't know what her history is, but we've been all over crazy ass parts of town looking for her husband, who's some elected official. And I just saw her pull a gun on you, and my dad's a cop.
It's like, look, we're gonna get this straight. We're gonna get this straightened out down at the station. All right?
Yeah. Call my dad.
He's like,
whatever you do, don't let her touch you.
And he says, the guy's like, okay.
I'm serious.
All right. What is she? He's like,
she's got an incredibly contagious disease. It causes instant mania. Think about rabies. It's like rabies.
Fuck, can this not get any worse?
Yeah, rubber glove it, guys.
It's like, all right. And they basically they kind of hoist her up. She's unconscious. And they begin dragging her off to one of the patrol cars that's now been pulled up. They put her in the back of the car. And you see then they go into the front of the car and they put on nitrite gloves. After they've been handling her for a bit, and they're basically like looking around, and you guys are all, for the most part, you're arrested.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
My mom's gonna kill me.
You're put into squad cars, and you're taken down to the station, and you're going to be questioned for most of the night, and probably most of the next day, because this was absolute bedlam. And you are the only people who are present to witness it, who seem to have more memories than anyone else there does. In the end, there is a lot of people on the ground. There is a lot of people who are, in a very bad way. And there is a lot of trauma going around. About towards the end of the what is basically the second day of you being in custody, Kevin, your dad comes in to see you.
Oh, fuck.
And he you're actually taken to an interrogation room. And your dad comes walking in the interrogation room and he's like, there is not a fucking thing I can do for you.
Yeah, no kidding.
What are you fucking doing with Jonestown-like cultists?
I was hired by Amy, remember?
Oh, yeah. Did you know she has, like, a rap sheet a mile long?
No, I didn't.
And underneath...
Dad, did you know she had a rap sheet a mile long?
No, she was...
Congressman's wife.
Not, well, city councilman. But
City
she's...
councilman, whatever.
Underneath that, prim little blouse, she is tatted up to all hell.
Oh, well, that's good to know now.
She's a former junkie. Who knows where he met her? He's like...
Well, yeah, she had me up and around town looking for her husband.
Probably one of her old contacts came back looking for money and kidnapped her husband. We have no idea yet. We still haven't even found him.
Well, she kept saying something about the car, but I never got a chance to get back around to the car because then she dipped off to rotten fleshland. And then some other crazy lady with an army of her own came up looking for her, trying to kill her.
Look, this is being... People are being tested. There's theories about hallucinogenics being used. We don't know what's going on. This is a clusterfuck.
Dad, you didn't see him in the street. They were nuts.
It says, we've got video footage from enough cameras that let us know that there was... Only thing they were focused on was getting to where they needed to go. He says, but for you guys, he says, you said you were working for her?
Yeah.
It says, we're going to need all your case notes. We're going to need a detailed record of everywhere you went.
Yeah.
He says, the only thing that's going to keep you from having any charges laid against you is the fact that, if you can prove that you're working for her, if you can prove this is going on. I was like, she has been refusing to answer any questions.
She just hired me the night that I saw you, Dad. I've got notes, but
it says,
it hasn't even come around time for payment yet.
It says, your friends are maintaining the same story that she, her husband's kidnapped. They're trying to help.
Dad.
He's like, well, Ruben didn't mention that. He mentioned that, that you guys are just trying to help her out. She's like, how the fuck she kidnapped Ruben?
She took him out of his room, remember? I told you about it at the hotel.
Yeah, I know. I'm not asking that. How did she kidnap Ruben? Did you have a gun? Did she? I know she had. I read the report, and I know she had a gun.
By the time I caught up to...
But it was actually the gun of one of the security guards from the park.
Yeah, I don't know how she got him out of there. I know that she took Ruben. I found Ruben at the zombie park.
It's like, well...
With her.
They can't hold you any longer. The 24 hours is up. They're not pressing charges right now. This scene is so much chaos, they don't know who's getting charged with what.
Yeah.
It says, but don't be surprised and get yourself a fucking good lawyer.
Yeah, I'll make some calls.
It says, and get your fucking notes, and you better have a goddamn receipt or a contract drawn up.
Yeah.
Because you need to prove that you're in her employee.
Yeah, I'm sure I've got something at the office, Dad.
Yeah. It says, I'll see about getting you guys sprung.
Okay.
And he kind of stands up and he walks out.
Hey, Dad, do you think you can get me, like, or have somebody, like, get me a cup of coffee or something? I've been up all night.
It's like he kind of nods and shakes his head at the same time, and he walks out. After a few more hours, you guys are all finally released. Amy isn't released because, of course, she had a gun.
Where's Sonata?
Huh? You don't know.
Oh my.
You left Sonata in the Jeep.
Well,
Where's the
yeah, because
Jeep?
there were dead bodies everywhere.
Huh? The Jeep, when you were taken away, when you were put in the squad cars and driven out, as you drove out through the front, there was no Jeep.
Shit. Do we have our cell phones again?
As you come out, yes, you do, but all their batteries are dead because they were just left on.
As we're leaving the police station, I'm just going to pull Ali aside. And I'm going to say, look, from me to you, you've got your family to worry about. You've got the shop to run. If I were you, no more runs for Seth. I don't want you getting hurt. Not like Amy was hurt. Not like I was hurt. They depend on you. You're gone for days.
I know. Mom's gonna fucking kill me. But, I mean, I at least want to make sure that Sonata's okay.
We'll find her. And that's the last time we find someone. For Seth
Okay.
or for anybody.
Okay.
I'm glad you're okay.
Will you be?
I don't know these days. All I know is that both of them, Weesis, Bacchus, they're both wrong. Doesn't pay to be constantly in ecstasy. It doesn't pay to be down in the dumps. You have to find moderation. If those people were able to find it, hell, if Amy was able to find it, that happiness, that peace, whatever was needed, none of this would have happened. Now it's up to us to find some way it doesn't happen again.
Well,
Kevin, thanks for bouncing me, by the way.
Sure. Yeah. If we wanna stay out of the clink, you're gonna have to forge some signatures for us.
I think I can do that.
Okay.
All right. Well, actually, I was telling the guys on break, I'm going to call it early a little bit tonight, and I thank the guys for being so cooperative with me. And I think this is a good place to wrap at this point. And it also means that, you know, by next week, all Michaela needs to do is watch 2 hours.
Or read the notes.
Or read the notes. Yeah, Michaela.
Yeah!
So anyway, thank you guys so much for coming out tonight, and thank you for being a part of the show. I hope it wasn't too traumatic, but once again, these are really stories about humanity, and when humanity encounters creatures that are inhumane in general because they're alien, it's a very short step from...
It's a long walk up a short pier.
Well, no, it's a very short trip from, hey, I can offer you all this, to, hey, I'm the boss. And speaking of that, Jack, you were very much kind of going against your nature as a vagabond. You pretty much were leading a lot of things. You weren't, you weren't as, you had focus. You had purpose. You had drive. And you are also very protective of someone other than you. So I think that we're going to put a crack on Vagabond. What that means is you have grown a little bit maybe outside of that moment or that part of your life, and 3 cracks and either the logos or the mythos breaks. And what that means is if it's a logos, it's immediately replaced by a mythos. And if it's a mythos, it's immediately replaced by a logos. If you ever lose all your mythos, then you become just a normal human, a sleeper again. If you ever lose all your logos, you've lost complete control to whatever mythic thing lives within you.
Understandable.
So, that is one crack on Vagabond. Of course, also, by gaining more logos abilities, you gain more power, because you get access to more powers.
You mean Mythos or
Mythos abilities, yes, because you get access to more powers, but it's at the cost of I've lost a bit of my humanity, or what I meant to be me before this thing was part of me.
And hey guys, next time we don't have to find a person, we only have to find a sword.
Oh, you still have to find a person. Amy's husband is still missing.
Oh, right, shit.
We have to find Amy's husband and Sonata.
And Sonata's now missing.
Can I say something before we sign off?
Yeah.
To the audience and whoever else might be listening to this in the future, yeah, we touched on some really heavy themes tonight. There's a whole goddess based on suffering and anxiety and depression.
Real God, too.
If you struggle from this stuff, if you've been in the throngs of the goddess, just know that it gets better, and reach out to the people who love you. Know that you are loved. There's not a person in this world who doesn't have somebody that cares about them or would care for them. So please take care of yourselves and love yourselves. And I love you guys.
Absolutely.
And, stay healthy.
And if you guys have need, or if you guys feel the need to reach out, there is a phone number that we just put up in chat, and there's also a link. It doesn't matter if you don't have someone to talk to. There's always someone there who's willing to listen. That's the one thing that, a lot of times when you're in suffering that you can't think of, that there's someone who's actually willing to listen to you. But there are. And so just reach out. It's better than anything else you could do, and it's worth a shot. So just take that chance and reach out. I guarantee you there'll be someone there who'll try and help you.
Oh, yeah.
In the meantime, I think we're going to just say goodnight. Thank you guys for your time tonight, and thank you everyone who watched, and we will see you in 1 week with Ethos and Mythos. We love you guys.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.